Wow, 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 what price action we're having, guys. I'm sure several of you choked a little bit on your morning coffee when price dropped below support for a second time. But wow, then we pumped back plus 10% in the next 6-hour candle, which means that 61,800 support is still holding. So what is clearly happening here is that every time price drops below support, someone or some people come in and they put a massive buy order, shooting price straight up above support again. That's why things like support and resistance work. It works because there's people behind it. If we switch back to daily candles, support 61,800 is holding, large line is still gold, and the resistance level to watch is up here at 70,800. Diagonal trend line was tested, and we finally got those juicy entries at support with contained downside because it didn't break. You have to assume a little bit front running, but this was nearly perfect. And then you risked very little, couple of percent on the downside only, but with the possibility that this is just a dip and that the uptrend will resume after the halving. Don't get me wrong, I don't know if that will happen. I don't know what the market will do in the future. Perhaps we get more of a what now feeling after the halving, similarly as we got after the ETF launch. Who knows? The great thing is that we don't need to predict the future, we just need to react to what the market actually does. And once again, that strategy turned out successful as of right now. Large line gold means the trend is up, that means that dips are a buying opportunity. Unlike during periods of downtrend, when it is not a good idea to buy the dips. Mathematically speaking, judging from the historical prices of Bitcoin. I saw a lot of people saying on social media that price always dips like this just before the halving, and then just after the halving it shoots up. So let's check if that's actually the case. Let's go back in the history and check. Here was the third halving in May 2020, approximately 4 years ago. And well, there was a small dip a couple of days before the halving. Actually it looks small here, but it's the same size as we had now, about minus 20%. And then indeed it did pump back right after the halving. But of course could be coincidental. Let's go back and check the previous one. Here we have the 2016 halving. There was indeed a little bit dip just before, minus 14%, so yeah, kind of similar, but then it did actually not pump back in a straight line up afterwards. Instead, from the halving date, we pretty soon got a minus 27% correction. That's quite a lot, before price came back up and started climbing, resuming its parabola that started already in January 2015. And let's check the first one as well. During these times, price swings were wilder, so it's not completely fair comparison, but here there was not a big dip just before the halving. This is like 5-6%, and zooming out little, there was actually nothing noteworthy around the halving. This main parabola just continued pretty much unchanged. So if we now go back to the present, and now I'm actually on the BLX chart because that's the one that has history all the way back to the beginning of time for Bitcoin, but it displays the closing prices only. So the current price is a little bit higher. It's 64,800. We don't see that here on this chart, so price is actually up here right now. As mentioned in the video yesterday, I think the correction we've had here is more a function of the yields than the halving. So in some of the previous halvings, we have seen this correction just before, but it's not a general rule that it corrects and then it V-pumps back. It was more or less only the previous halving where we got that behavior, so I don't think we should rely on that. But we are on the main parabola in the way that I drew it. I didn't draw this now, it was in previous videos, and perhaps it will provide some support here. In fact, we got this one pretty right. The left blue box is the parabola before the halving, and if you have watched this video, you know that one thing that has been common for all the previous halvings is that the pump after the halving has been the same length and greater magnitude than the pump before the halving. If you haven't seen the video, you should definitely go and watch it. I think it's very valuable to box in the two possible scenarios, one being that the pump after the halving will be of the same length and greater magnitude than the previous one as a high case, and a low case focusing more on the parabola behaviors as such, which brings a quite different conclusion. I don't use scenarios to predict the future of prices and markets. I don't think that works, and I think it's a dangerous way to approach the markets. The purpose of the scenarios is to outline different possibilities, and then we use reactive methodologies to steer and try to understand in which of these two directions we seem to be going, and we take action accordingly. Then, at least historically, that has been a much more successful approach, because we're not guessing as much, we're reacting to reality, what actually happens in the market. So are the different halving countdowns in alignment now? This one predicts today, 11 p.m. UTC time, in 12 hours, 58 minutes, 12 hours, 50 minutes. Yeah, roughly the same. 13 hours, 18 minutes, so slightly different, but almost the same. It is a historic event, and never before in history has Bitcoin had this much mainstream attention from the likes of BlackRock, nations, and in no previous halving has CTO Larson had 160,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. And to celebrate this, payment with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are back on the website. You can join using BTC or ETH or USDT over Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain or Solana. And same for Larson Pro. Just don't get scammed, guys. I have only one website, it's ctolarson.com. And while recording the video, price has pumped. It's now 65,100 and price is clearly back in the range. Larson didn't flicker. Instead, we got an entry with very little downside risk, right at support, right at target, which is now already about 10% in profit. I hope you see the benefit of a structured approach, because I saw a lot of people panicking over here. Myself too, emotionally. If I didn't have any methodology, I would have panic sold there instead. Now let's see how the post-halving event plays out. If the post-halving pump patterns will repeat from previous cycles, if we have a long and extended bull market ahead of us, spanning all the way to September 2025. Very exciting, very happy day, and we have an exciting week ahead of us. Thank you, Tack. CTO Larson out.
Welcome to the Bitcoin beat. Halving's here, ain't that neat? Prices soar while it's swelled. Everyone's a genius, can't you tell? Remember 2022, that deep market died. Folks lost shirts, struggling to survive. But not me, I just sat reclined, sip my coffee while my coins divide. No hollow in a slump, now that just rose. I stack my chips as the market lows. Keep the swag, all those socks in every bag. Crypto's a circus, wild and grand, while they owe and hope I take command. So let the market pump or dump. With Larson line, I'm never stumped while they all cheer. We're so smart, I got my line, tried it hard. Tried it hard. Charts